Good morning, everyone. Thank you for taking time to be here. We are so excited to be partnering with CyLogic for today's webinar. The VMware User Group, or VMUG, is an independent, global, customer-led organization created to maximize members' use of VMware and partner solutions through knowledge, sharing, training, collaboration, and events. Get connected to a local VMUG community near you at myvmug.com. We have them globally. We have them all over the United States. So if you are looking for other VMware users right in your own region or community, go to myvmug.com and get connected. During this webinar today, please use the Q&A function. This allows us to track all of your questions in real time. And if there is additional follow-up needed, we will be able to follow up with you all via email. So use the Q&A function rather than the chat function, and we will be sure to get all of your questions answered. And lastly, this session is being recorded. It will be sent out to all registrants in a wrap-up email, and it will be posted on the VMUG YouTube channel. So rest assured, you all will have access to this recording at the conclusion of the webinar. And without further ado, I'll pass things over to the CyLogic team.
Thank you. So just as a quick recap and explanation of what I'm about to demo, before Broadcom's acquisition of VMware, there were perhaps only 100 companies worldwide who had deployed VMware Cloud Director, and we were one of them. As we said previously, we were the first to take VMware Cloud Foundation and VMware Cloud Director into the FedRAMP High Ready process in 2020, and we're currently completing our 5th FedRAMP High Ready annual assessment right now. Before VCF 9 integrated VCD natively, we often found ourselves in conversations about our offering with potential customers only to find out toward the end of the conversation or several conversations later that nobody knew that VMware had a web-based interface called VCD that allowed you to consume resources much like a hyperscaler. So now that VCD is fully integrated into VCF, VMware is enabling the ability to take that cloud operating model that has been established by the hyperscalers back to the edge and on-prem, and to allow you to essentially become your own hyperscaler at the edge and on-prem and under your control. For those who are familiar with VCD, this is going to look familiar to you. For those who are not familiar with VMware Cloud Director, this is the capability that's giving enterprises their IT sovereignty back and allowing them to repatriate infrastructure to the edge that they control on-prem, or to work with a company like us to press the easy button and consume a validated stack from a security appliance perspective of VCF right now. So before we begin, I'm just going to go over what this demo is going to encompass. So I'm going to first talk about the Zero Trust network access capability that we have around CyCloud. Only because if I don't explain it at the beginning, it just creates a lot of questions at the end. So it's a pretty unique implementation of Zero Trust Network Perimeter. And so I'm going to explain to you what's happening as I'm logging into the environment. Then I'm going to go through the VMware Cloud Director provider portal and explain the capabilities of that and what it means to you as a provider, and the ability to either deliver customers tenants or tenants to organizational departments within your company, and then I'm gonna end with an integrated backup and disaster recovery capability we have integrated, and why that's important to have an integrated disaster and backup recovery capability on-prem where your cloud is located, and why that's important. So before I log into the Zero Trust Network Perimeter, I want to explain what's going on behind the scenes. It uses a technology called single packet authorization. Our implementation is what we call Cygate. It's a couple different technologies brought together, but I won't discuss the name of the technology, but it is used by, for example, the U.S. Marine Corps, the U.S. Air Force, other organizations of that nature. So this is a highly validated technology that we've implemented to ensure that our management provisioning interfaces are never exposed to the internet. Our customers have to go through a Zero Trust Network Perimeter, and you have to be explicitly authorized to even see those interfaces before you authenticate. So what's going to occur as I log in is my client has a token on it, and it's going to send a single packet with that token to a controller hosted on CyCloud. And that controller is going to identify me as an authenticated user. It's going to verify the posture of my device and enforce certain policies, and then validates the token has not been tampered with. Once the device client sends a live entitlement token to all authorized gateways, then what occurs is a per user micro firewall is deployed for that specific user session with that specific user's entitlements and what they should have access to. It then explicitly grants access dynamically to all of the applications that you're allowed to see, specific IPs, specific ports, specific protocols, times of day, device configuration. Do you have approved antivirus installed, et cetera, et cetera. And so what you're going to see is these applications over here are the management user and managing interfaces of CyCloud that we're going to demo today. So to assist in understanding what's going on as I log into this Zero Trust Network perimeter, I have a little visual here. This is just a script. It's going to open some command lines and start pinging. Doesn't matter what these resources are. These are the resources have explicitly been authorized to access. And as you see, they're not resolving now. They're not pinging. So I'm going to go ahead and log in to the network here. And what's happening is everything I described before, micro firewall is being spun up, entitlements are being assigned to the micro firewall, and I'm going to very shortly be able to access all of the resources I have been explicitly authorized to access. So it's come online, the micro firewall has been spun up, and I now have access to all of the resources that I should have access to, which includes the tenants that we're getting ready to demo. So let me close this down real quick. So we're first going to take a look at the VMware Cloud Director Provider Portal. The Provider Portal gives you full control over what customers can see and use. It's where you set up tenants, allocate resources, define policies, ensure that all infrastructure, including compute, network, storage, and other services are ready for the ultimate tenant. In short, it's the command center that defines exactly what the end customer of the cloud environment will look like. And I'm just going to go through these tabs here and explain what they are at a high level. It's going to be cursory, but in depth enough so you understand exactly what the use case is for the provider portal. Under organizations, you've got these are the tenant containers in VMware Cloud Director. This is where the provider manages each customer's users, policies, quotas, the resources that customers are allowed to consume, etc. The organization VDCs, virtual data centers. A virtual data center is the pool of virtualized resources allocated to a specific organization. This is the customer-facing virtual data center where the tenant deploys and manages workloads, networks, and services. We're going to demonstrate the org tenant next after this. The organization VC tenants. An organization VDC template is a reusable blueprint for creating a new organization virtual data center. It can predefine the data center's configuration optionally and include edge gateway and organization network settings as well. Provider VCDs are the supply side of the platform. Pool compute, memory, storage, and related network resources drawn from the underlying vSphere environment is what's occurring here. Organization VDCs are then carved out of these provider resources and assigned to tenants. So you're basically slicing up the physical workload domain cluster. The cells, the cloud cells, this is actually the VMware Cloud Director deployment. There are 2 database servers and 3 web servers in this environment. At CyLogic, CyCloud, we only allow customers to access these one of these 3 web servers right here. This is we're actually viewing the interface that's running from these cloud cells right now. Edge gateways. An edge gateway is the virtual router for an organization virtual data center. This provides tenant-facing network services such as routing, NAT, firewall, DHCP for workloads in that environment, and other networking resources. The provider gateways, these are provider managed upstream network constructs that expose IP spaces to tenants and serve as the northbound connectivity point for tenant edge services. They let the provider centrally know how tenants reach external networks. Speaking of external networks are the uplinks that connect cloud director networks and virtual machines to networks outside the cloud platform. They represent the provider side connection to upstream enterprises, internet, WAN infrastructure. For example, we're in Equinix data centers. This is what provides the uplink that connects to those external resources, the carriers in that data center. And network pools, these are groups of available networks that VMware Cloud Director uses to create tenant organization networks and VApp networks. They provide the underlying network allocation fabric behind multi-tenant networking, basically. And then IP spaces, they provide a structured way to manage and allocate public and private IP address ranges. This is where you as a provider govern how address space is carved up and assigned for each tenant use. VM sizing policies. This is where VM size policies are defined and allow CPU and memory allocations for virtual machines within the organization VCD. They let the provider publish standard VM sizes that tenants can use during deployment. And VM placement policies are just that. Placement policies are defining where workloads can run within the provider infrastructure by referencing provider-side placement rules. When published, they allow tenants to select approved placement behavior during VM creation and editing. And GPU policies, these are the profiles that can be made available to tenant workloads. When a vGPU policy is published to an organization VCD, the tenant can select it during the VM creation or editing process of the VM creation. So, in short, the resource section is the provider side control plane that defines how VMware Cloud Director resources are built, governed, and exposed to tenants. For an end customer such as us or yourself, this means as the provider, you already have predefined the resources, connectivity, IP addressing, security boundaries, VM sizes, placement options, on and on and on, and including GPU capabilities that will appear in the customer's own portal experience. The Content Hub, this is a centralized area for managing application content in VMware Cloud Director. It brings together catalog style content and external content sources so providers can control what application content is available to tenants. It's basically a centralized platform where you manage and distribute catalogs of content, like templates or applications across the cloud environment. The service library contains predefined services that can be offered to tenants, making provisioning simpler. For example, instead of having to manually spin up a web server with a certain configuration, a customer can click a service in that portal that automatically deploys a standard web server instead of opening a ticket and waiting for the provider to do it manually. Another example, think of it as a menu of pre-built IT tasks a user can run directly from the portal. Under administration, this is the core underlying management of the system. Provider access control allows you to manage users, groups, roles, system tokens. This is where API access tokens are issued in automation, for automation and integration. Service accounts, these are non-human accounts used by applications or automation under cloud security. Under VMware Cloud Director securely. Tenant access control. Helps you to manage global roles. These are reusable tenant roles defined that can be published to one or more organizations. Rights bundles, these are packages or sets of rights that can be published to organizations and used to build roles, tenant roles. Identity providers, I won't delve into that, that's pretty obvious. Certificate management, trusted certificates, this is where trusted stores and certificate materials for the platform are managed. And under settings, this is where platform-wide system behavior and integration defaults are configured. This is where the platform-wide system settings are configured. email, where SMTP and notification, email behaviors configured, password policies, licensing, multi-site, where multi-site associations between vCloud directors are configured. Synchronization is where catalog synchronization and LDAP behavior are configured. SSL covers SSL TLS security for cloud director communications, and then feature flags. This is where optional platform capabilities are enabled and disabled. Monitoring, this is where a list of ongoing completed tasks are logged. Blocking tasks, these are tasks that require administrative intervention before they can proceed. And then events are log system events and alerts. And then under the more section here, this is the extension area of the provider portal. It groups optional plugins, portal customization, guided walkthroughs, solution add-ons, disaster recovery mitigation tooling. For example, Kubernetes container clusters. This is the graphical interface for VMware Cloud Director container service extensions used to create, resize, upgrade, and delete Tanzu Kubernetes grid clusters. Customized portal. This is where the provider manages portal plugins and portal branding. Guided tours. This lets you record, import, and publish guided tours so administrators, tenants can be led through tasks directly inside of the VMware Cloud Director interface rather than reaching out to documentation or support. And then I'll skip to setup DR and migration. This is the control center basically for standing up and operating disaster recovery and migration services. So as you can see, VMware Cloud Director's provider portal gives you absolute and complete full control over what customers can see and use. It's where the provider sets up tenants, allocates resources, defines policies, and ensures all infrastructure is ready for the customer. In short, it's the command center, again, that allows you to manage and orchestrate and the entire life cycle of your cloud infrastructure. This demonstration is taking a little bit longer than I was expecting, so I'm going to speed it up a bit. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to demo a VMware Cloud Director organizational tenant. This is a logical, isolated space for customer organizations where its users receive role-based access to allow cloud resources and can self-service and manage their virtual data centers, workloads, networks, catalogs, and policies, while the cloud provider operates the underlying shared infrastructure and capacity behind the scenes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show them one of the most basic functions of a tenant. I'm going to spin up a virtual machine here live in about 60 seconds. I do this by selecting my org, give it a name. I'm going to create this Windows 11 desktop as an application from a template. I'm going to have it connected when it spins up. I'm going to have it connect to the identity network. I'm going to have it pull from DHCP, and I'm going to fire that off. And while that's happening, I am going to give you a run through of the interface here. You can see that virtual machine is already spinning up. So in the applications section, this is the tab that lets you manage catalog-based apps that tenants deploy. The virtual machines tab shows all the running VMs. On this machine, we happen to have deployed a virtual desktop infrastructure deployment. This interface provides control over the power and settings, console access, and other functions. The container application tab manages Kubernetes clusters and container workloads. The networking section manages the org's connectivity. And here we have defined a few networks like DMZ, identity, and public for VM traffic. The edge gateways a tab handles the gateway devices for external routing and NAT. And security tags, we don't have any defined here, but this security tags provides labels for microsegmentation policies. And if you have never looked into the capabilities of microsegmentation, it's pretty impressive. I suggest you read up on it. The Content Hub organizes all of the org's deployable assets. The Content tab includes applications, application images, app templates, Helm charts. As we discussed before, and media. The catalog section stores reusable collections of these templates and images, and the Kubernetes resource tab manages Kubernetes clusters, and registry credentials store access keys for container registries. The library section centralizes reusable content for tenants. Organization of ECD templates are predefined blueprints for deploying virtual data centers, and the service library holds service-related templates and configurations for rapid deployment. The administration section, similar to the provider portal, governs the entire tenant environment. Access control manages users, groups, and roles for permissions, identity provider, SAML, OIDC, OpenID Connect, handles external authentication, certificate management, stores and manages security certificates, and the settings section handles configuration for general operations such as email, gateway, metadata, multi-site VCD, configuration, policies, and resource quotas. And then finally, the monitor tab that provides visibility into system activity and health, such as the status of running and completed operations, and significant system action or changes for auditing and troubleshooting. Now let's go back, and I'm sure that virtual machine has spun up already, and it is live and powered on. I'm going to actually log into it through the web console. And we have a new virtual machine in about 60 seconds while I was talking. I'd like to show that there's an IP address assigned to it. And it's already pulled an IP address, internal IP address from the DHCP server. So that's one of the most basic functions. Just want to show you that it's a live functioning system and not architecture. I'm going to go ahead and spin that down, power it off, and then I'll delete it later. And I wanted to take a moment to talk about the integrated disaster recovery hub and why it's important to have integrated disaster recovery plugged into your local VMware Cloud Foundation stack and directly into the tenants. I've been in this industry 30 years. I've seen a lot of companies think that they have their backup and recovery strategy taken care of. It all feels great until an incident actually happens and you have to hit restore, and suddenly you see that it's going to be 14 hours or a number of days. We have backup recovery capabilities integrated natively into our stack, and I'm going to demo that right now. Give me a second to log in here. I'm going to log into this file server. And I've already prepared, I already have it open, but I have some test files here that I use for this particular demo, and I'm going to delete them. Some incident has occurred. Could be ransomware, could be a hostile act or a insider threat, upset employee. And I'm going to go to our disaster recovery interface that's integrated directly into the stack. Need to type. And I'm going to start a recovery of these files. Go to recoveries, files and folders. I want to recover that entire folder. I know the name of the folder starts with CG. And this is the folder right here. I'm going to fire off that recovery. Right now, let's see if we can get to it. It happens pretty quick. I usually miss it. Oh, logged out. Darn it. And they're back. So I did miss it. All that was recovered in a matter of about 30 seconds to a minute. This is the value of having a native integrated on-prem disaster recovery capability that allows you to recover rapidly, not over the routable internet, native over the local LAN, and allows you to achieve your RTO and RPO objectives. So VMware Cloud Foundation is the sovereign cloud platform. We at CyLogic have made it immediately consumable, and together we're providing the easy button for sovereign, secure, and compliant cloud delivery model that can be delivered anywhere, so that organizations can start realizing the value of VCF today under strict governance, automation, and operational discipline built in. This allows you to begin consuming VCF today while you continue shaping your own long-term sovereign cloud strategy on-prem, which takes time. And on that point, I'll hand it back over.
Thank you all for joining. Thank you, Chris, for an amazing presentation. We have VMUG Connect going on right now in Amsterdam is VMUG Connect, and then we have four coming up domestically in the United States. So the first of which is in Minneapolis, then Toronto, then Dallas, and lastly Orlando. So if you are interested in registering, scan the QR code at the bottom left of the screen, and you will be able to register. As I mentioned, this session was recorded. The recording will be sent out to all registrants via email, and it will be uploaded onto the VMUG YouTube channel. At the conclusion of the webinar, you will be prompted to fill out a survey. Please fill it out. This helps us bring you fresh and relevant content in future webcasts. And lastly, use code COMMUNITY for 10% off of a 1-year VMUG Advantage membership. Have a great day, everyone, and thank you for joining.